Shalom, guys. Good evening. This is Yehoshaphat Oliver coming to you on the 7th of April, 2020. Yud Gimel Nissen. So I'm just going to listen to some statements from some community figures in Melbourne, Australia, where I'm from. And this is pretty representative for what's going on all over the world, just different variations of this theme. So here we go. Let's play this clip from this. Members of the Jewish community succumbing to COVID-19 is a reality we need to face. New South Wales Jewish Board of Deputies President Leslie Berger has warned, as doctors, rabbinical and community leaders reiterate the importance of social distancing in preventing the spread of coronavirus. Okay, I'm not going to subject you to the entire video. We'll play from here.
I need to be honest with you. I'm concerned that a number of members of our community will succumb to this disease. I know it's scary, but it's a reality that we need to face.
Right, so you should be afraid that this will happen. It's scary. Be afraid of it. It's a reality we need to face. Some people will succumb to it. People will die. People will die. You should know. It's a reality we need to face. It's scary. People will succumb to it. That's what he's afraid of. Be scared. And he says so. He's in a position of authority. So, okay, let's see what else he has to tell us. This important authority figure.
Need to work together to help try to solve. What can you do to help?
Help try to solve. Solve. That would imply thinking critically, right? No. He's just about to tell us to obey orders, not solve. Solve, I guess by solve he means to ultimately fix the problem. But that's what he's claiming. But he's about to tell us, obey. Just obey.
And that is simple. Maintain social distancing.
Yep. They're all repeating the same mantra. The same mantra over and over. All like robots. Drones. Repeating over and over like we're little kids. Follow the rules. Maintain social distancing. That'll save lives. Trust us. Rely on the government.
Do not spend time with your wider family. Try to limit your interactions just to your own children and you, and do not allow...
Right? Don't spend time with your wider family. No meeting your cousins. No meeting with your uncles and aunts. No meetings with your in-laws. Anybody. Nobody. Only your immediate family is allowed. And now it's coming to the kicker. Even grandparents can't have contact with grandchildren because he knows that that's very, very dangerous. That's putting your life in danger. It's very difficult, but he's in a position to tell us that that's what we should do.
The grandparents to spend time with your children. I know it is difficult. It is something that is very painful because it goes against all of our normal cultural and religious practices.
Yeah, you bet it does. That's why the government wants to tell us to do it, because the government wants to inflict fear, inflict pain. Pain, the trauma of being deprived of contact with our loved ones. That is the entire point of this mind control operation. The purpose of the mind control operation is trauma, suffering. So the key to that is you've got to conform and listen to us and inflict pain on yourselves, because the government knows best. Government knows best about what's good for your health. We can trust them. You can trust them. Trust them. We said so. We're your leaders, and we said to trust the government and inflict pain on yourself and fall right into their trap. Fall into their trap of their mind control operation to turn you into a obedient slave, so that we suspend our critical thinking, because we've become victims of trauma from being deprived of normal interaction with our other family members, in this case our grandchildren. What about the trauma to the grandchildren from being deprived of contact with their grandparents? It's just trauma all around. And that's exactly what these lowlives who are orchestrating this want. And these community figures, I don't know if I can expect more of them, but they're just playing right along, and they're not, I guarantee you, at no point in time did they consider the possibility of disagreeing with what we're being told at all. The only thing that came to their mind is going even further than what the government is telling us, is requiring to go even further. The government doesn't need to impose such restrictions, because the community leaders will go even further in mandating onerous restrictions.
But we need to do it to save lives. Also, please maintain very strict hand hygiene. It's absolutely critical. And if your child is learning from home, do not allow them to leave the home. Do not.
Right. So it's necessary to save lives. We got to save lives. If you're in contact with your grandchild, you're in danger of dying. Whoa, we've got to save lives. You know what? Maybe the grandparents can decide for themselves what they think the amount of danger is. Make their own threat assessment. What are older people like? Not as intelligent? I think you think that, actually. Older people, they can't analyze it for themselves. You know what? None of us plebs can analyze for ourselves any issues. We can't make a calculated risk for ourselves. No. Everyone must obey, even though it's difficult to save lives. Whose lives exactly are we saving? We don't know. Some vague generality of saving lives. Again, if the goal of this whole deprivation of contact is some kind of grand societal flatten the curve, one grandparent having come in contact with their grandchild, that won't have any impact on the macrocosmic state of affairs. So it's just nonsense that when one grandparent doesn't have contact with their grandchild, that through that they're saving lives. It's pure nonsense, even according to the official story, which is the flatten the curve slogan propaganda. Even according to that, it's not true that a grandparent coming into contact with his grandchild is risking lives and separating from one's grandchildren and not having contact with them not having a Seder with them is somehow saving lives, because everyone is a carrier. You know what? Let the grandparents make that choice for themselves. We make calculated risks all the time. We drive at high speeds. What is it any of your business what calculated risks we make as individuals? But no, this guy's he's the leader. He's going to tell us what calculated risks we should be making, because he really understands the medical figures. So he knows that this is absolutely the right thing to do, because this saves lives.
Organised play dates. That defeats the entire purpose of what we're trying to achieve by closing schools and moving towards online education. There is hope.
Right. Yeah. We wouldn't want kids playing with their friends. No. That would be too much social contact. We want the kids traumatized too. We want kids to be suffering trauma-based mind control too. I don't know if that's what he's consciously thinking, but he's conforming with this agenda. And it's just not true that one kid playing with another kid, according to the official story, again, everyone will get it. It spreads very quickly, and probably everyone already has it. So this idea that one kid having a play date will with another kid, that will cause the disease to spread. It'll spread anyway. You want to say it'll spread a little more slowly through all this lockdown baloney? Maybe. It'll spread anyway. And certainly on an individual level, my kid playing with someone else's kid, that will have no impact on the general situation. It's just not true. I don't need to not let my kid play with some other kid in order to save lives. It's just false. Okay.
Hope for the future. Do not despair. We are a strong community. We are a resilient community. Our community has faced atrocities, the like of which are difficult to comprehend, and this is the first challenge for this generation, and we will overcome it together, because we are...
Yeah, this is the atrocity that we're facing, the atrocity of the government thinking that it can exert this kind of power over the people and control all authority figures, so they all fall in lockstep and all repeat the propaganda and never think critically about what the government is telling us, and never consider the possibility that perhaps the government is getting it wrong in their rules, which is what some professors and professionals have spoken out against, the whole idea of lockdowns as being the solution to the problem. No, we'll completely ignore those professionals, those experts. We'll only listen to the experts that the government is telling us are correct, and accept their words as some kind of like holy writ, as sacrosanct. And you have to accept it too, as such. This is the atrocity. The atrocity is what the government is doing to us right now, not some invisible virus.
Are connected because we do care for each other. When someone is down, we help pick you up. And these are the sorts of initiatives that we will put in place as a leadership group to make sure that no one is left behind once the pandemic passes. And we'll provide whatever support we can to members of our community during this crisis. There is hope for the future, and I wish you all good health.
Yeah, we want the best for you, so therefore listen to us. Don't think for yourselves. Don't criticize the official story. Don't consider that the government is getting it wrong, making a mistake, and certainly don't consider that there's a agenda of deception for the sake of a takeover, to bring in an oppressive government regime. That is certainly forbidden thought. All right, so we'll finish with that clip. And now we'll move on to another clip from a guy from Melbourne, a rabbi from Melbourne. He is, let's see, he is a community COVID-19 task force member. I don't know what that means. He's a task force member. COVID-19 task force, what exactly does that mean? I have no, I guess it means he goes around preaching to people that they have to follow the rules. Well, he's definitely very good at that. Let's hear his preaching how Jewish law says to blindly obey the government. This is complete baloney.
Make sure that you listen to the advice of our government, the health professionals. Don't think that you're wiser than them. If they tell you not to leave your home, if they tell you to quarantine yourself, do it.
Yep. Listen to the government. Don't think you're wiser than them. Don't think critically about what they're telling you. If they tell you something, just blindly obey. Follow, conform. Because I said so, and I'm your leader. I'm a rabbi. And I know that what they're telling you is for the best. You can trust them. Don't think you're wiser than them. No, they're certainly smarter than you. They know best. And you should listen to them.
It is literally life-saving. You are mandated even, according to Jewish law, to listen to the rules and the regulations that our government is sharing with us.
Yep. Jewish law. See, the first guy, at least he didn't invoke Jewish law because he's not a rabbi. So at least he's not entitled to do that. He just says, well, the government knows what they're talking about because he's a community leader. The second guy, who calls himself a rabbi, he invokes Jewish law. Now, I would be fine if he would invoke Jewish law if what he was saying was actually correct according to Jewish law. But it is not true according to Jewish law. You should mindlessly conform with everything the government tells you just because they claim that it's necessary for your health, for public health. They could be getting it wrong, and they could be lying. So that's simply completely complete distortion. Jewish law doesn't say anything of the sort. Jewish law does say to rely on an expert doctor, but only if that doctor is unbiased, has no conflicts of interest, and is basing his opinion on accurate data, accurate information. That's completely not the case with anything that you hear from the government. And so therefore it is simply false information that Jewish law says that you must obey the government for the sake of saving lives. That's just not true.
Thirdly, our children are watching us. They're watching how we behave. They're watching how we go shopping. They're watching how we talk, listening to our conversations. Be there to support them. Be there to encourage them. If they see or sense your fear and your anxiety, it won't be good for them.
Yep. Our children are watching us. Will you obey the government? Are you setting an example to your children of blindly accepting whatever the government tells you, not thinking twice about what they say? What about when it turns out that they were wrong? Will you register that? Will you mention that to your children? As is the case now, in which the wild predictions of millions of deaths in a short time, exponential growth has been proven to have turned out to be completely a false prediction. Will anyone notice that? Will you be telling your kids, oh, the government got it wrong? Will you be telling your kids about how the truth is that countless times the governments in the past and in the present have lied to us? The kids are watching you, yeah. Will you be a blind robot? Will you send examples to your kids of being a blind robot? Or of someone who thinks critically about what governments, which are very prone to corruption, are telling us?
And finally, remember that things are different. Shuls are closed. Schools are going to be closing. Some already are closed. So don't expect everything to be the same. There are challenging times. There are different times. And if we understand that, and if we take a deep breath, and if we are more relaxed in certain...
Yeah, just adjust to the new normal. Don't ask questions about why it's really necessary for the shuls to close. How is it you can go to a store to buy food, but you can't go to a shul to daven? How does that follow exactly? Isn't disease spreading anyway in the store somehow? Don't ask any questions about any of that. Don't ask any questions about how perhaps specifically herd immunity, meaning making sure people get the disease, will solve the problem, and that the strategy of mitigating through all this lockdowns and social distancing is merely staving off the inevitable, and that therefore there's no need for our shuls and schools, our synagogues to be shut down. Don't ask any of those questions. Except this is the new normal. Just relax, take it easy, be happy. Accept, don't question. Just go along, because it's what the government tells you, and it's what the Jewish law tells you. Yeah. Okay, thanks for listening, guys. God bless.